Hey Channel Insiders, I'm your host Katie Bavoso, and welcome back for part 2 of my interview with Terry Richardson, CRO of Blue Mantis. If you haven't watched or listened to part 1, head on over to channelinsider.com right now to catch up. In part 2 today, Terry explains what it means to have a customer for life, and how that's his focus every time Blue Mantis takes on a new client. Cybersecurity is a massive, critical necessity across every company. Every company that is connected to the internet, congratulations, you're a tech company. That's just how it goes these days. You need to think about cybersecurity. So what are your customers asking for most in 2024, whether it be a specific solution or an answer to a specific problem? And how is Blue Mantis delivering?
So, the trends that I'm sure you're well familiar with are the top things that customers are asking about. AI seems to be in most every conversation. Companies are trying to figure out how to use it to, do different things with their business. Even something like Microsoft Copilot. How can I take advantage of that, but do it in a secure way? So AI is still a very regular and ongoing topic. Security probably remains the top of mind business conversation that we're having. I referenced earlier, sadly, the state of the world. The incidents of ransomware attacks and other detections of malicious behavior are they're just ramping up. Cloud, continues to be a conversation. I think it's pivoted to. It used to be how quickly can you get workloads into the cloud? And now it's more about how can you help me control my cost spend related to cloud because it's out of control right now. So we do a lot of cost optimization work there. And then I think that the new one, in fact, it's an eighth practice we just started earlier this month formally, is around resource management. There are IT skill gaps that our customers are struggling with. And so we have been successful in helping provide resources to fill those gaps where the companies either can't find the talent that they need, or frankly, in the case of security, oftentimes they may not be able to afford the talent that they need. So rather than hiring full-time employees, they're looking to us to provide resources on an ongoing basis. So those are probably the top 4 that we are regularly dealing with and responding to in the normal course of business.
And like you said, when it comes to that top talent, you're only as good as your people. A lot of people need to outsource, and they're turning to you to go, how do I even do that? I'm a business manager. I don't know how to work with IT.
Everybody wants to do more with less. That's kind of the everyone's looking for improved efficiency and productivity and skills capability. And unfortunately, budgets don't allow you to hire everybody you need always at the time you need it. So you have to make other plans. And so we just decided to be more intentional around, hey, instead of doing this on a reactive basis when a customer asks, we actually think there's a greater market need. So now we're proactively, letting folks know that, hey, we're here to help if you need us in that area.
Well, let's build in a story where we can talk about a specific customer that has turned to Blue Mantis for help. Can you share a customer success story with me and where you were able to answer the call?
There's a customer, we have permission to use their name, called Aspire Health Alliance. They're based in Braintree, Massachusetts. They first reached out to Green Pages at the time about 5 years ago to do some managed service work. So take over responsibility for a portion of their IT operations. Since that time, they've relied on us increasingly for new and different things. It's a success story because we've been able to continue to add value in new and different ways, but the customer has also appreciated the relationship, not only by rewarding us with ongoing business, but really in their feedback, how happy they are with the caliber of the personnel that they interact with, which is a really nice reinforcement from our customers. So from the initial managed services work, we've done a big cybersecurity project for them and get them in a much better position of being protected against vulnerabilities. We've done some strategic projects related to software-defined wide area network that was important for their business. We helped them re-architect their entire wireless network to have them rethink connectivity, and the list goes on. And I think that's one of the beauties. I always heard, and you probably heard me reference to Katie, and maybe in our prior conversations, where the difference between personnel, salespeople on the vendor side versus solution provider side, was always described to me, and now I'm living it, where the solution providers take kind of a customer for life approach, right? And it's whatever you need to do to satisfy that customer and continue to serve them and meet their needs and deliver the outcomes that they expect. Where on the vendor side, because of just the constant organizational churn, there's a lot of times there's turnover, and that rep to customer relationship gets broken. But on the solution provider side, it's almost sacrosanct. So as long as the seller's doing a good job and the customer's happy, it's a customer for life. And when you do it right, it becomes magical. You really get to know the customer, their needs, their requirements, and how to better serve them. And it just can build on itself, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And that's one that I'm proud of the work that the Blue Mantis / Green Pages team has done. And I think the customer would tell you that, they're happy with the decision that they made to partner with us, and hopefully we'll keep earning the right to get future business.
Love to hear that, Terry. Amazing story, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. And I also want to know, as far as the people that are helping you continue to be successful, I should say companies, but it is really people when it comes down to it. When you're looking at vendors and solutions, are there anyone that you would shout out as far as they're doing a great job? This is just great tech, or this is just great support, and we find a lot of success with that particular vendor. Are there any ones that you would say?
I could give you a few examples. I'd have to be careful how I phrase this because I don't want to slight anybody, but I would say Microsoft's been terrific. We work with Microsoft in a number of ways: Azure, M365, Copilot, analytics. They're just more and more now. They want to tap into our security capabilities. They want to do more with us in security. So there's so much that transitions across multiple practices for us. So that's a very strategic partnership. Lenovo has emerged as a really strategic partnership, both on the endpoint side, where we've had the most success, but lately try to work together more collaboratively in the data center side. T-Mobile is a new one, where there's some interesting 5G connectivity solutions that we're focused on in the marketplace. So that's kind of an emerging partnership that we're focused on. Arctic Wolf has been very strong on the security side for us. HPE is probably a longtime legacy Green Pages partner that because of my background, been able to reactivate. There's a list, but that's some examples of where we're seeing a lot of traction.
And I'm sure I can turn people to take a look at your partner list and know that everybody on there, again, is an intentional choice and partnership.
Oh, I could have said Pure Storage. I could have said Barracuda. I mean, there's a long list, right? But totally. I'm just trying to look at the ones where I think there seems to be probably the most level. But, to be fair, the number is a little bit longer than I told you, but those are just a couple of examples. So,
well, thank you for that. And looking ahead to the rest of 2024, where we're approaching quickly, getting halfway through it by this time of year, it's so hard to believe. What have you got cooking? Is there anything we can expect from Blue Mantis that you can talk about, whether it be your investments or more announcements as far as your people? Anything that we can expect?
No specific people announcements to foreshadow. We'll continue to roll out new offerings to our customers. You'll see in the coming days and weeks analytics capability, something we're calling Blue Insights, that will that helps customers look at network interdependencies through the lens of, kind of application connectivity. We think that's going to be really interesting. We'll come out with new backup as a service offerings. We'll do some things with 5G. We'll become more intentional about connected 5G laptops and how that can really help in certain industries. Those are just a few examples, but it's really just continuing to refine our go-to-market around the practice areas that I've described, and just kind of building upon the success that we've had. So I think we have a good strategy for growth. Second half of the year is going to be around execution on the strategy. We've spent the first half, building out a lot of the strategy. Now it's full steam ahead on the execution side.
It's always interesting what kind of gets bubbled up in the first 2 quarters of the year, and then those last 2 quarters just absolutely look like you said, full steam ahead.
At the beginning, you have all year, but then you realize how quickly time goes on. So it's like, okay, enough innovation. We got to go.
Exactly.
We got to go deliver the numbers. So.
And my last question for you today, Terry, would just be, I've admired you and watched your career for so long now, because it's just so interesting to see you make, again, it leads back to that word intention. You make very intentional choices for yourself as far as where you're going to go and who you're going to work with and what ultimately you want to do. And I really admire that. So for those out there who are just starting in their leadership journeys or perhaps their channel journeys, do you have any advice as somebody who has been all over the board, as leading in some of the biggest companies on the vendor side and all the way to the solution provider side? What would you say?
Well, first off, you're very kind in your comments, so thank you for that. I would say to anyone that's starting out, pay attention to relationships because they matter. People that you work with today in a given capacity, you might be doing something different, or they might be doing something different. And you never know when you're going to work together again. So invest in relationships. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do. But they really do matter. One of the reasons that there were a few reasons that this job became attractive to me professionally. I had relationships with many of the vendors that we're working with that were built over time and were trusted relationships. Customer relationships, and people that, we can attract into the company are folks that I've worked with, or in my network that I trust. It affords me the opportunity now to kind of bring all that together. And I think because, and I can't sit here and tell you that I was especially intentional, about relationships early in my career, but I always cared about people. And I always knew that, kind of the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. People remember that. And it doesn't always happen. But if you're, really focused on the people you're working with, you're doing right by them, you're looking always for the win-win outcome, it'll pay dividends. You don't know when or exactly how, but trust me, it'll pay dividends. And at least it has for me.
So well said, Terry. I appreciate it so much. And for those who are watching and listening, where can we go if we'd like to learn more about Blue Mantis? And especially if we're on the customer side, if we would like to continue to learn more about your solutions and your offerings, where can we go find out more?
BlueMantis.com. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to engage with anybody that wants to talk to me, personally and professionally.
Fantastic. Terry, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure getting to catch up with you.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you, Katie.
Thanks again to Terry for joining me, and thank you for watching or listening. Check out all episodes of Channel Insider Partner POV on channelinsider.com or watch on YouTube at channelinsider_news and trends. You can also listen to the podcast format of every episode on your favorite podcast listening platform. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow wherever possible so you never miss an episode. And check us out on social media. Connect with us on LinkedIn or X at Channel Insider or with me at Katie Bavoso. Once again, I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and I'll see you next time.